Everybody, back at it again with another video, and if you're looking at the old video, I'm gonna delete it soon because technically that video had no sound whatsoever on it. I really need to learn how to use these new headphones because they're becoming a problem for me. Now let's get into what's really out there. So here's how I'm gonna work this out for you right now. On linemen, you should always have lead the way on your offensive lineman. You're like, Trail, why should we have lead the way? Well, technically, secure pass blocker, they won't get that outside rush on you. But once you're able to get, how do I say it? Double Chems on linemen, secure pass blocker, and lead the way. But right now, at this moment, you want lead the way. Lead the way on all your linemen. Does that make sense to you guys? Are you understanding what I'm saying? Like, so... You know, and this might be something for a later situation if you guys want to do this, but at the same time, I'm going to give you a little bit of heads up. You're probably going to stray away from sprinter down the line in the next coming months, but that's a story for another time. Now, if you look at my linemen, yes, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's supposed to be 5, but it's not. There are certain right tackles who can't get lead the way. Now, you have to look these guys up, and I think it's a 90 lead block, which gets you lead the way, if you guys understand what I'm saying. So they have to have a minimum 90 before you even chem them up at all so that you can give them lead the way. Right tackles are pretty hard to find this on because I think Lane Johnson is somebody else, but the other right tackle who can get it is pretty slow, and I didn't want him. And I went after Darrell Williams just because. Now we're gonna go to the tight ends. What do you want? What do I want on my tight end, Trail? Well, I'm not a fan of it, but if you're one of those guys who has integral workings and an amazing, unbelievable defense, unbelievable offense that has all these new routes in it that are complicated, and you love doing this, but I love certain routes. I love a drag route. I love an in route, stuff like that. And if you put deep route specialists on, elite route specialists on these guys, you're losing certain routes, if that makes sense, but it still is a good idea and a good way to get them. I'm not a fan of it, but it will open doors and open a new level to your offense, if that makes sense. Now we're gonna get off the subject of tight ends really quick. I should power them up now, but I'm not. I'm debating on how, I think this guy's gonna get a power up later on in the year. But anyway, on to receivers. Now, as you see right here, I have 2 receivers who don't have any red chems on them. Why? Because I think I'm going to put playmaker on him and playmaker on him. But right now, you want at least two receivers with deep route specialists on them. And you're like, okay, so Trail, why do I want deep route specialists? Well, number 1, you can create a post anytime you want. Number 2, you can create a crossing route at any time you want. Number 3, you can create a post corner. You can create a post, you can create a deep crosser, and a corner route to the sideline. Now, this will keep your opponent off guard because once he starts manning up that crossing route to the sideline, you can put him on a corner route to the opposite sideline. Why? Because once you pull a drag under that crossing route, it makes a cloud flat drop down. Now, unless they go to play the sticks, you're always going to have that route. And if they play the sticks, you're always going to have the drag route, if that makes sense. It's a cloud glitch in the game that you guys, if you look it up, you'll see it. But let's go to the other chems. Energize. You don't really want that. I don't know anybody who's just like, oh, I gave him energize just so he can run full speed. Like I told you, the animations are going to always have you in a position to get tackled by somebody. Playmaker, a very, very, very good secondary chem to have on a receiver. Why? If he's not a deep route specialist, guess what? He can turn up the field whenever you playmaker him very, very fast, and that puts stress on users a lot. Once you start stressing the user, he has to pick his poison. Is he going to take the unguardable route, or is he going to say, you know what, I'm going to man this guy up with somebody across the field? Once he mans that guy up with somebody across the field, then you can put him on another angle, because we all know this is what guys do to stop crossing routes. They basically man guys up and try to stop us And I'm sorry, I looked at my phone. They man us up and try to stop those crossing routes. But now to the next thing. Okay, short route specialist. Not too sure about it. Elite route specialist. Those are way more complicated routes, and I found them to be very, very, very annoying. Short route specialist has a lot of good routes in there, so you can give that to somebody. I think that the drag is in there, but juke specialist, the juke takes way too long to perform. Return man, there's no reason for you to put that on a receiver unless and if you have 5 receivers, there's a good chance all your receivers come in at a certain point in time. You don't want your receiver being a guy out there taking hits. But return man is something, if you have a secondary slot, yes, I would say 25% you get it. But here are the main ones. Playmaker, deep route specialist, to me, because juke specialist, not really nothing, because we got a spin move, you can spin them out their shoes, and the juke and the spin specialist takes too long to execute. So that takes care of wide receivers. Next, let's go on to the next guy, running backs. So Trill, what would be the best chem to put on my Ricky Williams? I have never stumbled because I like to plant and cut back against the grain. As I told you, energize, there's no purpose, a temporary stamina refill. There's no reason whatsoever to do that because you have multiple backs. I would never do it. If you try it and like it, be my guest, but I wouldn't do it. Never stumble. Yes, that's something I will put effort into because I like to cut back. So let's say you cut back or you juke somebody and you stumble, you fall to the ground. Well, now you don't fall to the ground. You just stumble and catch your balance and keep running. Sometimes that is so amazing and glitchy because you catch your balance and you keep running and they can't tackle you. Return man. I'm not having my running back return. Truck specialist. I don't know too many people who truck, but this could be on an Eddie George or somewhat. Maybe Eddie George, if that makes sense. Then we have juke specialist. Like I said, juke specialist creates a very long drug out juke. Spin specialist creates a very long drug out spin. Stiff arm specialist. Never used it, wouldn't advise it, but if you want it, give my guess, but never stumble. And elite route specialist. Like I said with the tight end, it opens doors to an offense that most people are not prepared to stop. A table route on every single route that you have will dominate because table routes are hard to guard. So imagine having a table route on both sides. Now he has to worry about that table route on both sides, and he has to come to the terms of I have to hard flat or I have to user those to stop him. And then sometimes the table route bounces off the sideline and goes upfield. So imagine having elite route specialists, and I don't think they can get playmaker, but elite route specialist bounces up the field very, very easy, and it bounces on an angle so the linebackers can't keep up with it. So those would be ones I put on my running backs, which I have never stumbled on him already because never stumble is so glitchy and I love to cut back. So quarterbacks. You guys are wondering about quarterbacks. So your Ricky don't have Gunslinger, and I'm not going to put Gunslinger on him. I had Gunslinger on Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers threw the ball at the back of his lineman's head the majority of the time. He hit the lineman in the back of the head all the time. And that's why I would not go with Gunslinger on Michael Vick, because I don't want that possibility of being on 4th and 1. You have a wide open drag or slant and he hits the lineman in the back of the head. Now, if you have a taller quarterback, a Cam Newton, Josh Allen, that would be amazing right there because you could sling the ball without worrying about hitting your lineman in the head because they're tall enough to do that. Conductor, yeah, I use Conductor for the simple fact, why is Conductor still saying I have to buy it? That's weird. Okay, never mind, don't worry about it. But Energize, no, I wouldn't use Energize because if you're out there doing successful ball carrying moves like a psychopath, you're going to fumble majority of the time. Identifier, if you have an extra slot for Michael Vick, I do Identifier. Gunslinger. Like I told you, spin specialist, you do a long drug out spin and you're gonna get your head knocked off. Juke specialist, just like this. These three are if you're the type of person who likes to run like wildcats and stuff with your quarterback, but sooner than later somebody's gonna knock your head off. Never stumble. My Michael Vick has never stumbled. I've never had that issue, but sometimes in the pocket I used to stumble in the beginning of the year, but not anymore. I've learned how to maneuver the pocket, so I'm going with Conductor. Now let's look at the next guy up to par. What would you put on your fullback? I'm going to make this sweet and short. If you have Lorenzo Neal, I would say out my way on him too. There's not much that fullbacks can get, but if you want to put something on him, out my way is the perfect thing to put on him. Now, as for him, I haven't thought of anything to put on him because I don't know anything worth putting on him. Energized? Not really. Truck specialist? Not really. Juke specialist? Not really. Stiff arm specialist? Not really. Because I basically went through, and if you pay attention to my Franco Harris, look at his ratings right now. We're going to take a look at it and we're going to compare him. I managed to put zone run on him. Why? Because I wanted his spin to the threshold. Now, Franco Harris basically plays tight end for me and he spins people out their shoes. So this was a cheaper way of getting away from, how do I say it? This was a cheaper way for me to get away from Dallas Clark. Dallas Clark is on the block for 300K, and Dallas Clark is one of the only tight ends that can spin. And he's very fast and agile and athletic, and he can make moves, but he's just really annoying once you put him on the outside and he shakes a linebacker and he catches the ball, and all of a sudden he spins and turns upfield. That opens another dimension to your offense too, when you can have these tight ends spinning. None of these tight ends have the spin threshold. None of them. I don't believe he even has it. David Njoku. Njoku doesn't have it, but at the same time, that is one of the reasons why I have that on him. And tight ends, like I said, it's just one of those things where, look at this, his spin move is 74, and I think Delaney Walker doesn't even have a spin move. So that's something that you could look into, to whereas you have tight ends with their spin move, you know, at that point, because who's expecting to get spent out their shoes by a tight end? Nobody. So when that tight end spins you, it really destroys your day. It makes your day very bad. Now, on to the defense. So you asked me, Trail, why do you have hot hands on only a few? I have hot hands on him because he's tall. He's going to be a user linebacker. That's why they have hot hands. Okay, so why haven't you put out my way on them? This guy has tip drill for the simple fact, and it's a video where tip drill saved my life. If it wasn't for tip drill, I wouldn't have won a game on him. So that's basically why he had it. But on linebackers, you basically want out my way, or hot hands, out my way or hot hands. Now, if you play a lot of defenses where, you know, you're just in zones like a madman, you don't have to send nobody, tip drill might be good, but mine are hot hands and out my way. So take a look at the D line. Out my way, out my way, out my way. These guys do not play at all in my defense. The guy, he doesn't play. These three guys, these four guys, 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They don't play. Here are the guys who play. Khalil Mack, out my way. And 6 if you count Joey Bosa. But Khalil Mack, out my way. You want to know what out my way does? It counters lead the way. So what happens? They stalemate each other. And whose ever rating is better, they seem to win. To me, I don't know. It may not be that way, but that's how I look at it. So now, Trill, why don't you have situational pass rush on anybody? Because I haven't seen situational pass rush light up, to be totally honest with you. I've never seen it light up. It doesn't seem like it does too much. So pick 6, that's pretty weird. And situational pass rush, you know, a pass 34, it gives them an effective win thing. And then jump the snap automatically gives automatic snap jump to player while using blitzing player on the line. I wouldn't do that unless you're a heavy line user, which I'm guessing none of you guys are. I don't know, but maybe that might be good for you. But out my way is the best thing you want to have on people on your D-line, because they just sling people out of the way. And if you don't have this guy with out my way, you are kidding yourself, because guess what he does? If anybody runs his way, he slings that guy out of his way and tackles the person. Now, the next step that we're going to look at, he still has high hands on him, because in certain defenses, like I said, I user him, and I user Calvin. That's why they have hot hands, even though they're not in the position that you're thinking. So the first thing that you look at me and you say, okay, so what should I put on my secondary? Until your secondary players can get a second Chem, which they should be able to get with their next and final upgrade, maybe. But here's the thing. You want tip drill. You want tip drill. You want tip drill, tip drill, tip drill, Tip drill. Now, why do they have tip drill on them? Because there are certain situations where you will bat a ball up in the air, or you'll bat a ball out of a guy's hand. What they do, they just basically dive at it, and it looks like they didn't get it, but they got it. Now, this is why I love this Chem, because tip drill works when they drop a pick too. So if they go for a pick and they can re-catch it, tip drill activates even in the air. Like, they may have dropped the pick in the initial animation, but then it changes and they re-pick the ball off. You'll see that a lot with tip drill. So now look at this, Champ Bailey. Why does Champ Bailey have tip drill and pick six? Because Champ Bailey can get 2 Chems on him. So you went, why not go never stumble? Why not go pick six? Because if he gets the pick six, he has unlimited stamina. There's no need for pick sixes, like I told you guys before. Unlimited stamina doesn't matter if you're always getting tackled as soon as you make the pick. So it doesn't matter. Return man, you're gonna always have enough stamina or spin move to shake someone out their shoes. One spin move will basically take you to the thing. Pick specialist, less. Wait a minute, which one? Oh yeah, okay. I have pick specialist. Pick specialist, less likely to drop interceptions. Now, unfortunately, I will be the first to tell you they still drop interceptions. But if they are not by someone, if they're in the open field, if they jump a route, that's a pick. They won't drop too many route jumpers. I mean, they jump around and get it. But if they're going for a pick and someone's right there, they're gonna drop it more than likely. So that, if that makes sense to you. So pick specialist. Why do I have pick specialist on Patrick Peterson? Because I put Patrick Peterson at safety, which, I can get him up there. Tomorrow's going to be the day that everybody's leveled up. I'm going to have a wonderful day tomorrow when I level people up. But you guys, it's pick specialist. Why do I have pick specialist? Less likely to drop a pick. He plays safety for me. And people try to attack him. So I want that. I want you to try and attack him. Why? Because when you try to attack him, he'll basically jump the route. And he's done that a few times where they throw the ball and he gets an awkward animation even though he's behind the player. Pick specialist does that. It gives you a weird and crazy animation, which both of these guys get because they have that on them. But if I had to pick, it would be tip drill, tip drill, tip drill, tip drill, tip drill, tip drill. Those are all my guys who I have with tip drill on them. So let's go and see the guy who used to bag him up. It was Von Bell, but Von Bell didn't have any Chems on him. Just run stuff. Yeah, exactly. So you see right here, Malcolm Butler has tip drill on him. That's all I wanted, tip drill. I wanted to pick those balls off when they bounced up in the air. But at the same time, that is what I have on my guys. Special team wise, Justin Tucker, I can't upgrade him. Locke Edwards, I can't upgrade him. So none of these guys can get anything on them. So Brandon McManus, he's really been screwing my life up lately. I think I need to get rid of him and put someone there who can really boot it. So let's see who's better. Pursue blah 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 blah. Kick accuracy, kick power, kick power, kick accuracy. Brandon McManus is gone. He's out of my lineup finally. I've been meaning to do that for a minute. But you guys, that's what the video is about. It may have went a little bit too long. Sorry about that. But you guys have a good one. Catch you next time. Thank you for paying attention to the video.